This is John Federman. He is a congressman from Pennsylvania, I believe, a senator. He had some comments about what Israel is doing right now. If you're unfamiliar, Israel is leveling the Gaza Strip right now in horrific ways, and it's a full-blown genocide, in my opinion. I mean, we can just look at the steps, look at the qualifications, and I think it lines up to genocide. It's bad. It's real bad. FYI, I'm blaming Israel, the country, not Jews. They're not the same thing. I just want to draw that distinction. Anyway, John Federman comes out here and starts complaining about the fact that South Africa brought a case up in front of the International Court of Justice, I believe, the ICJ, I think is what it's called. They brought a case against Israel for genocide, I believe. And sadly, Federman, I liked the guy, honestly. He's, you know what, just listen to what he says about it. This came out in mid-January 2024.
Who are they really fighting? It's a group of cowards. They hide in tunnels.
He's talking about who is Israel fighting.
They hide behind civilians. They attack, kill, and mutilate children, women.
So I guess he's not drawing a distinction between normal citizens of a country and extremist terrorists or whatever. He's not drawing a distinction even between the military and the citizenry. Guess what? Collective punishment is unacceptable no matter who's doing it or who it's being enacted against. He is advocating for punishment against a demographic of people for what some nutcases are doing within that group. I'm not even going to bother going down this road of they don't do this, they don't do that, or whatever. I believe that Israel fabricates a lot of the persecution that they face at the hands of these people. But you know what? Hamas is genuinely psychotic. They're awful. Hamas is terrible. They're insane. They're like the 9/11 hijackers, basically. That's the level that we're dealing with. But Hamas is not Palestinians. They're different. And John Federman should know that as a congressman, as a senator, as somebody who deals with war issues. He should know what collective punishment is, at the very least. He should know the rules of engagement, the rules of war. He should have read the Geneva Conventions. If he did, he wouldn't be saying any of this, presumably.
They do that? Stop talking about proportion on that. They shot their best shot on October 7th. And they would have taken more lives if they couldn't do that, but they couldn't do it.
Who is they in this scenario? He is conflating Hamas with regular Palestinian citizens, and it's just sad. Quick interjection, this won't take long. If you like what I do, I'd appreciate it if you watch the video to the end. YouTube bases video reach off of watch time, so watching even an extra minute makes the video go further. Liking and subscribing goes a long way too. Finally, it would be awesome if you guys checked out my Patreon. All links are in the description, of course. Okay, back to the video. So he says there is no concept of proportionality because Hamas would wipe out Israel if they could. So Israel is justified in doing absolutely anything to Hamas that they want, up to and including collective punishment or genocide. I would like to think that he knows why that line of thinking is dangerous and deeply disturbing. I'm not convinced he knows, though.
And now let's also talk about that. Now we're talking about genocide. And now South Africa is bringing that kind of a trial. Maybe South Africa being able to sit this one out when they're talking about criticizing.
Okay, so he's saying South Africa should sit this one out because of their deplorable treatment of the black community in South Africa. The white, I'm not sure, the Boers, I think is what they're called, Boers or something like that. They're people who came from like England, basically, a long time ago, or, the UK, that area, and they created a segregated state where black people, it was illegal for black people and white people to get married. The black population was suffering terribly. They were being treated in horrific ways. They had a pencil test where it was illegal for a black person or a white person to get married there. And sometimes you couldn't tell the difference between somebody who was black and who was white because their skin is a little darker sometimes because people tan. So the pencil test is where you take a pencil and you stick it in somebody's hair, and if the pencil stays, then they're black. That's the kind of stuff that they were doing. Terrible. So who better to bring a case against somebody for genocide? I think South Africa is perfectly positioned for this because they've been there. They've seen it. They know what it is. They know how bad it can get, and they know how it starts. And they know how it stops because they desegregated. They integrated their population a while back. But he's saying South Africa should sit this one out because they have experience with this, apparently. Okay? The Boers immigrated from the Netherlands, I'm being told. Okay, thank you, Mark Van Wisco. I will put that in. Make sure that everybody's aware of that. Yeah, the Boers immigrated from different places. The point is that they were white. That's the point. White colonizers.
Now bringing that kind of a trial. Maybe South Africa being able to sit this one out when they're talking about criticizing. Sit it out.
That's just sad, man. That is really sad. I liked Federman. Roman in the comments says the definition of Islam means peace. Actually, the definition of salam means peace. S-A-L-A-A-M, I believe. Islam is not the same root word. They're unconnected root words I've come to find, interestingly enough. I believe. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, pretty sure that's the case. Anyway, I got a voicemail about it that I wanted to listen to. Of somebody who's also very disappointed in Federman.
Hey, Owen, Guy Young, Brookville, Illinois. Well, I'm really disappointed in John Federman. You know, I thought he was going to be a super progressive, and I see he's all in on Israel. I mean, I'm upset with Biden for supporting Israel so much.
Yeah, I'm not happy with the fact that Biden went all in for Israel either. I think it was 100% justified to stand behind them when they were attacked on October 7th. Absolutely justified. Because it was horrific. It was a disgusting, horrific attack. It's just wrong. But Biden has said openly that he's a Zionist. He's identified as a Zionist for years. This isn't a recent thing. This is a long time that he's identified as a Zionist, quote unquote. I'm using his word. He said Zionist. So, yeah, I don't even like using the word Zionist. I think it's kind of a cringy word. But anyways, Biden identifies that way. So I do think that Biden is working on a ceasefire, though. I saw him speak not too long ago, and he said that he's working to get a ceasefire right now. Now, do we believe him? I guess that's up in the air. I think I personally do believe that he's working to get a ceasefire. I mean, I guess it's just whatever you think, but I do think he's working for it. Anyways, keep listening here.
Okay, I can't stand Hamas. Nobody can stand Hamas, and I understand Israelis, but, you know, what Federman would be better doing is that Netanyahu knew what was going on. He let it happen. So don't feel so bad about the Israeli. Oh, I still feel bad for the innocents, but don't feel bad for the Israeli nation.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I don't feel bad for the people in government if they knew what was happening. I heard that Netanyahu might have known what was happening, but I'm not 100% sure if that was verified or not. I don't know. Either way, like, Israel has their ear to the ground a lot for, you know, terrorist action and stuff like that. Obviously, the U.S. does too. Everybody does. Israel's probably more diligent about it. I would imagine that they tracked it pretty closely. But again, who knows for sure? It's just pure speculation.
They effed it up, and I'm really disappointed in Federman.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in Federman too. Absolutely agree. I was hoping that he's going to run for president one of these days. I mean, he was not fantastic on everything, but he was very relatable to normal people, and I thought that might give him a chance to, like, connect with people across the aisle, but that's just sad. Anyway, thank you for the voicemail. Quick note before we continue, I'm writing a book about my experiences inside the religion of Jehovah's Witnesses. I cover the culture and doctrine. It's understandable even if you know literally nothing about the religion, so I'd appreciate if you gave it a read. To find out more, go to owenmorgan.com/book. All links are in the description, of course. Okay, back to the video.
Hey, Owen, it's John again. I just got a weird question for you. I guess you probably have asked about it before. You might have wondered before. You know the whole prophecy about how only 144,000 JWs will go up and serve in the kingdom of God However, there are about 9 million worldwide. How does that make sense? There's not even room for all of them. Why? What's in it for me to join, right? Anyway, thought that was interesting. See ya.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, why do Jehovah's Witnesses believe that only 144,000 are going to heaven, and why would everybody else even bother? The 144,000 who are going to heaven are known as the anointed. They kind of self-select. They say, I believe that I'm anointed. If there's any doubt in your head that you are, then you're not, basically. God tells you directly because he's in tune with your heart in ways that others are not. So anyways, God picks the anointed people that will rule in heaven as joint kings and priests, joint heirs to the throne with Jesus. The whole thing's absurd and unbiblical and ridiculous from the ground up, but that's the belief. Now, as far as the other Jehovah's Witnesses go, they believe there's going to be a Garden of Eden 2.0, basically. The thought-terminating cliche that they use to refer to this is, God wanted humans to live in a paradise originally. Why would he change his plans? Anyway, they have thought-terminating cliches about all of this stuff that are pretty easy to pull apart once you just look a little bit deeper. Anyway, Jehovah's Witnesses think that there's going to be a great crowd that will make it through Armageddon, basically, and there's going to be a resurrection of the righteous and the unrighteous. The governing body came out recently and said that they don't know who will come out the other side. They don't know who the resurrection of the righteous and unrighteous will include. That is very different from their previous position, which was, if you don't do this and this and this and that, then you won't make it through Armageddon. If you don't knock on enough doors, if you take a blood transfusion, if you lie, if you cheat on your spouse, if you whatever, then all of this stuff will disqualify you from being in the new system. But that's what they call it, the new system. Garden of Eden 2.0 is called the new system. Anyways, they came out and said they don't know. You know, people might just make it through and they just have no clue who it'll be. So, yeah, there's your answer. I have talked about that, but it's been a while, so I appreciate you bringing that to my attention again.
Hey, this is Lyric from Missouri, and I just wanted to say I really appreciate your channel. It has helped me through my deconstruction. It has helped me through a whole lot. And I work in the back room, and it's really nice just listening to you while I work in the back, because I'm just pretty much by myself. It almost sounds like I'm having a deep conversation with just like a coworker or something like that, and it's really nice. Yeah, that's about it. Also, it is really cool watching you play Breath of the Wild, because I don't get to play it myself. I'm poor and don't have a Switch, so it's really neat watching you play as well. It's like a best play. It's like a let's play and a deep conversation in one, and that's like my two favorite things. All right, have a good day. Bye.
Yeah, I appreciate the voicemail. I'm glad that you like that that format. That's on my Owen Unfiltered YouTube channel where I do that every Wednesday and Thursday. And if you miss it, you can just watch the edited, cleaned up clips after the fact. But yeah, that's kind of how I felt when I was creating it. That's the look and feel that I was going for. You know, deep conversation while we hang out and play a game. That kind of thing. I used to have a buddy named Brian. He lived in West Virginia, so lives in West Virginia, so we don't get to hang out anymore, but he used to come over and hang out with me all the time. And, you know, we just sit there and play Smash Bros, and we got so good at Smash Ultimate. Oh my God, we probably played maybe 1,000 hours in that thing, and every time he came over, he'd hang out for like 3 or 4 hours, and we would just talk about his ex for like the entire time. Somehow the conversation would always loop back around because I knew her, and she's genuinely terrible, like awful. She's a terrible person. So we just sit there and trade stories about how terrible she was. Somehow we kept that up for literally years. You'd think that we'd run out of terrible to say, but it just kept on going. Anyways, that's the look and feel I was going for. Kind of the look and feel with Brian, hanging out, playing a game, talking about people, so, and things and stuff and such. So anyway, yeah, thanks for the voicemail.